I like the Suns tonight. I like them laying 6. I thought that spread was fat for how bad they've been playing this season early on and how good Minnesota has looked.
Not so fast.
Midget.
Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast.
This is the first game of Booker, Beal, and KD. This is their debut together.
Yeah, that's fucking deep. Fuck Bradley Beal. He is the worst. And I'm officially off of the Suns tonight. I honestly might even fade him. Justin Herbert, I'm just going to say it. He's mid. Dak Prescott. He's a coin respecter right now.
Yes.
He is. Jameis Winston, though.
I feel like he could go in the GOAT category just because he's Jameis.
You could tell last night. Kent State had no business winning that game. They were never winning that game. Shit bets. I cannot believe what my eyeballs witnessed on the court last night in that. What the fuck, dude?
Took Nick Bosa over 0.75 sacks. So Baker is screwed. The offensive line is screwed. Nick Bosa is going to terrorize them.
What's going on, chat? BTL episode 364 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your two hosts, Krabs and Javon, on this beautiful Monday morning, presented by Pickett Sports. If you guys aren't tracking your bets on Pickett Sports, do you live under a rock? Grow the heck up. Start tracking your bets. Javon, 2024, right around the corner. You're going to see people start wanting to change their lives, wanting to get better. All these new, yearly goals, right? Maybe one of them could be track your bets on Pickett. Make sure you're not losing all your fucking money. That could be a good one.
That could be the difference.
Little soft toss alley-oop there for the people. Get better. Be a better person. Be a better gambler. Track your bets on Pickett, chat. It's that simple. Javon, great job holding it down with Goots on Thursday and Friday. Back from the SEC Championship. That game was fucking lit. Probably one of the loudest games, if not the loudest game I've ever been involved with. It was insane. You couldn't fucking hear yourself think in there. Guys, if you think your fan base cares about your team, they don't. Not compared to Georgia and Bama. It's literally life or death. Some of those people would choose that team winning over their children. You could tell by their screams during the games. It is unbelievable, Javon, how much they care. And although there was no beer in the stadium, we still made do, had a good time. Trent, I mean, you can't make it up, Javon. Somebody literally goes up to him and says, hey, can you give me one square? I got this 3 guys, or I need one more piece, Trent. Can you give me one square to put in this and hit? I think the other 3 hit that he brought up, and then the one Trent gave him lost. So can't make it up. Typical day down there at the Prize Picks HQ. Javon, good job holding it down. Happy to be back on BTL. What did I miss?
Not too much. I mean, you definitely missed a couple squad rides, which shout out Matt and Degen for coming on, helping craft those. But we had a Bethune squad ride without you, which was incredibly hilarious.
Oh, I saw the news. I heard people talking about Bethune Cookman. They were cooking. Good shit, boys. And yeah, shout out Degen. Shout out Matt for coming on. Shout out Degen and the Party of 60 coming in, rating from their stream. W's, gents. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We got Ref the Bets coming in hot, giving a subby, Javon. Love you guys. Let's keep rolling. Time to restore the fixed order today. Sure, Ref. Let's restore. We got Anthony V Bets coming in with a subby. Best stream bros. Let's keep the wins rolling. Yes, sir, Javon. I'm no mathematician. I see 5 green beans in a row down there, though, for BTL squad rides. Love to see that. We got back to Malik. Sub banging. Oh, I'm not done. We got subbies left and right. This is crazy. Back to Malik. Espresso Bets coming in with a subby. Can't wait to get destroyed by Oregon. But Fiesta Bowl bound bang. Espresso Bets, good for you and Liberty. That's awesome to see. The team that did not get any respect or get talked about it all this season that went undefeated somehow just got swept right under the rug and got 0 respect. I know that if they got paired, obviously, against any of the teams in the college football playoffs, they would get destroyed, but still going to tip your cap to them. They did their jobs, and now they get a real bowl game, a real test. That'll be cool.
They do.
We got fake Goots, not our Goots. We got other Goots. Goots 3-8 coming in hot with the sub bang. Love seeing Goots on Surge Stream. He's coming in with a subby. W. Javon for holding it down last week. Only non-core book it streamer. Sure. Good shit. Holding it down, Javon, giving the people 2 squad ride wins there. We got Swiss Cheese coming in with a subby. What a name. What a guy. Love the vibes today, Chad. We have 100 sub bangs already, and we haven't even dove into the picks yet. Javon, great fucking job holding it down with the 2 squad rides at the end of the week last week. 5-piece, Chad. 5-piece in a row. Let's keep that shit rolling. Okay, love to see it. Great work, gents. Let's stay hot. All right, Danny knows. Danny's down. Krabs, how we feeling about University of Maryland Eastern? Sure. Hey, with the amount of games on today, we might have to go to the Shoreman. We might have to. All right, we'll talk about that.
I don't know if you noticed, 364 today. So you know what tomorrow is?
1 full year of BTS.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Nuts.
That's crazy.
Weird.
Again, dude, it's not a mathematician, but that math adds up to me.
That does add up. Yeah.
Pace.
Yeah.
Sure. I wonder what like the
crazy.
actual day count is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely off, right? No weekends, so it's been a little bit longer, but still cool. 1 trip around the freaking globe for BTL. 365 piece coming tomorrow, chat. I'd say we do a giveaway tomorrow, but we're actually going to do one today for the King of the Boards giveaway from last week, Javon. Great first week for King of the Board. Chat, you guys let me know what you guys thought of this competition that we did. We started it last week. I mean, really could not have started any better. And then, of course, we both closed with L's. Can't make it up. But again, not a math guy, but I think I beat you out, Javon. I think I got you by a little bit.
Yeah,
sure.
by like a couple hundredths of units.
Can't make it up. Well, that's not a big enough win for me. And although we did say we're going to do a giveaway for whoever, right, on that tweet in the mentions, whoever put a little crab or a little milk emoji under there for whoever wins, whatever side they're back, and we'll do a little Prize Picks promo giveaway. I think, Javon, since this was the first week, since we're absolutely killing it on the squad ride, sweeping it left and right, since this was so close in the first week, maybe we do a little giveaway for both sides. Give the people a little hand
celebrate up. We tied record wise, and then we had a 5-0 week on the squad ride. So I feel like it's only fair to reward the people and go both ways there.
Can we get some W's in chat for this absolutely electric week we had? And let's keep the fucking wins rolling. Can we get some W's going? What more could you guys ask for? Winners, content, we got them. All right, let's keep this fucking train rolling. Love to see it. Goots, do we want to pull up that tweet and do the little W giveaway now for the people? Make sure that all the BTL watchers are invested and they're paying attention and making sure they know we're giving giveaways out. Let's roll it. Yeah, guys, so we're going to put this tweet out after BTL today for this week too, okay? But let's go through these mentions real quick, Goots, and see if we could find a crab emoji that was posted early, all right, on November 27th. Goots, I think you make the call, man. I don't want any bias on here. I don't want any bias.
Yeah, no bias.
You
All
see
right,
any
I'm ready.
crabs floating
I'm gonna-
around?
I'm gonna try and just like do a little scroll, and then whenever my mouth lands on, that's where it is. Sound
Okay.
good?
That'll be it.
All right.
Yeah. Sure.
Luke's locks.
Hey, Luke's locks.
There
Okay.
you go.
Luke's locks. Sure. I think he watches BTL. I see him in chat here all the time. Love
Sure.
to see
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, I'll do
All right,
another
Luke's
one.
locks. You want to try it again?
Let's try it again.
Let's see if
From
we can
the
get a little
top.
milk emoji.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a little milk emoji. Boom.
Oh, we got one. Oh, we got one, folks. Who's so? Was that who it was? JJ?
Yeah.
Jay
Mhm.
DeSanto.
Is that who it landed on?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. You two gents are going to get blessed with some Prize Picks promo. Okay, we'll tweet at you two guys this afternoon, and you'll send us your email associated with your Prize Picks account, and we'll make sure they put some promo funds in there for you two gents. Love to see it. We're going to try to do more giveaways on here, Javon, right? This is a good way to do it. Get people to pick sides, right? See what surgeon they think is going to be more surgical for the week, and they get rewarded. They get to reap the benefits. So this week, we're doing a handout. Both sides will get a W. But going forward, chat, pick the right surgeon. All right, because we're not going to do any more handouts. Love to see it. Awesome, Chiote. Hope you're doing well. Hope the vibes are up. A lot of W's early on today. Love to fucking see it. We got Anthony V-Bets coming in. Best stream bros. Let's keep the wins rolling. Let's fucking go, Anthony. Javon, let's keep the NFL bets rolling, Bo. This is nuts. 3 for 5 again. Another winning card.
We take
We
those.
take those and we move.
Yeah,
Sure.
especially I mean, when I usually put my meat on table against the Bucks, it goes pretty well a lot of the time. And
Sure.
I said verbatim, there should be zero reason for that game to be anything more than a field goal. And what do we know? It lands on a field goal. So shit wager with the Commanders. I just had to do it. I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I just really wanted the meat on table to be the Panthers instead of them to be the dog. And then Kenny Pickett got hurt, kind of sucked, but rest of the game, good calls. We like that.
Did you take the Manders because you missed me? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I guess that might have been it. That might have been it.
Could have been it.
I mean,
Yeah.
sides and totals went relatively well, but I mean the props. We talked about those a little bit on here, not too much. Which shout out Matt. I think he gave 2 spoon-fed less than props, which was huge. He had a Ritter and Swift. But otherwise, I mean, shout out all the goats. I was pretty tonsils tied to Sam Laporta, and I can't talk about the NFL weekend without saying that he dropped a casual 9 for 140 something and a tutty, which is his best game of his career against a defense that everybody thinks is very tough, but in reality is not. So shout out him. Can't go without putting tonsils on Laporta for the weekend because he was amazing. But otherwise, I also was pretty tonsils tied to Jonathan Mingo. And what do you know? I said he would have his best career game and he would lead the Bucs to a legacy cover, and lo and behold, 6 for 69, which is hilarious. I mean, the Bucs are just bad and depleted.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a Fat Girls Inc. 10 unit sub.
10 U Johnson. We love that.
How about a 10 piece for the kid? I know Fat Girls Inc. was cashing bets this weekend. No way he's giving out a 10 piece if he wasn't. Absolutely fucking dialed. And yeah, Javon, great call in the Panthers. Great call fading your squad. It paid. It played. I had a pretty good week too in the NFL. 5-1 this week. Seattle plus 9.5. That was free. Houston -3 yesterday. That hit. The Saints plus 4.5. That got hooked. So probably should have been a perfect weekend. And if they don't go down 21-0, they win that game outright with ease. They should have won that game, and they fucking blew it early. Typical Derek Carr, he stinks. Carolina plus 3.5. Easiest bet of all time. System play. Coach fired. You bet him. And then San Francisco ML. Should have taken alt line -21. Giovanni, you want to talk about the Eagles and how they finally came crashing back down to earth, law of averages, whatever you want to call it, regression. The gambling gods finally smited down the Eagles, and they gave them an L. They gave them an LATS. They gave them an L in their records. That was a big L. I think that was a statement win for the 49ers, who made it very clear they do not forget that loss from last season in the playoffs, Javon. They came standing on business, and they came on a business trip. No fun for the 49ers this weekend, Javon. Only a win. They were not fucking around, and they beat the living crap out of the Eagles. It was good to see. Finally, my Eagles chirps coming to fruition here. It's almost like that Eagles secondary isn't good. It's almost like Jalen Hurts looks just a little bit off from last season. Guys, that's all it takes for this team to fall. Everything was perfect last season. Could not have gone better. Now we're seeing this team take a step back. Now you know why they're not the best team in the NFL. The 49ers are. Javon, agree, disagree?
I mean, even before this game, I very clearly thought the 49ers were the best team in the NFL, and I didn't think it was close. I think there's a large discrepancy there. But the thing is, like, what makes this even more impressive is the fact that, like, their offense didn't really look settled in to begin the game. So, like, Brock Purdy, the first couple drives, I mean, he did not look good. And the fact they still came and they dropped 42 pretty effortlessly with everything included is ridiculously impressive. And I will say, as much as I talk about like the MVP race, and I don't think it's evened out a little bit now, but I don't think Jalen Hurts should really be up there with Purdy and Dak. It's kind of proved why, because this was the first game, especially early in the game, when you kind of thought they would be running the ball because they got a couple field goal drives. They looked pretty dominant to start the game, didn't cash it in with scores. Like when they couldn't run the ball and Jalen Hurts had to throw a lot, that's kind of where everything started to fall apart. So like as much as I respect the Eagles as a team still, Jalen Hurts is not like the do-it-all guy. Like he hasn't shouldered the load for this team. It's been the offensive line. It's been the run game, keeping it steady, kind of keeping balance in that offense. The defense has come through when it's needed to. Obviously not yesterday, but like they're a good team. Hurts can't carry that team by himself. I am sick and tired of people acting like he is. So it's not to say the Eagles still aren't a good team, but the Niners, there's levels.
There's levels, and I'll tell you what, Jalen Hurts being the favorite to win the MVP did not last long, Javon. We've got some new heads in the ring. We've got Brock Purdy down there with the shortest odds to win the MVP. And let's not forget about Dak Prescott, who's also got his name thrown around the ring as well, who's down there at plus 300-ish with Jalen Hurts as well. So we got Brock Purdy, your guy down here after another great performance. He deserves it, right? And Javon, W tweet from earlier, Purdy and Dak finally getting some respect, just like it should be, right? How are you feeling about the MVP race? And who do you think is the best player right now in the league?
Well, truthfully, I think if the MVP wasn't a quarterback award, the race should be exactly like the Offensive Player of the Year award is, which would be between Tyreek and CMC. But I'm not going to try and fight the structure of the award there. But realistically, I think the favorite after next week is going to be who wins the game on Sunday night between the Eagles and the Cowboys. Maybe co-favorite, depending on how Brock Purdy looks next week. I think he's going to look good again against that same team. But yeah, whoever comes away with that game, in my opinion, is going to be the favorite. Obviously, if it ends up being Dak and the Cowboys, I think that's a little more justified than Jalen Hurts winning that game, unless he puts up 400, 500 crazy yards, something like a video game statistic type game on prime time against the Cowboys. I don't think that's going to happen, though. So in my opinion, the most impressive, consistent individual season of any quarterback has come from Dak Prescott, and Brock Purdy is very, very close, but people really don't want to admit that. So we'll see. It's going to be a tight race.
Couldn't agree more, and I'm extremely ecstatic to say that we're all going to be going to that game on Sunday night. Sunday Night Football, boots on ground down there in Dallas at Jerry World. We got the Eagles coming into town playing the Cowboys, who I believe are up to minus 3.5 on the spread now, Javon, correct?
Yeah, they're up to 3.5, which I think is crazy. They opened up 2.5 and went up to 3.5. I wouldn't have been shocked to see 3 flat, but the fact that this early you're getting a hook with the Cowboys at 3.5 is pretty insane to me. So good luck in all likelihood if you're taking the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles Cinderella story, the Eagles honeymoon, it might be finally over here, Javon. Finally, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it's over. I think it's a tough couple games of a scheduling spot.
It is.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I think regardless of the status of both these teams, before now, it's not unreasonable to say that they're going to split these games kind of going into the season.
Yep. 3.5, pretty telling. Josh Mitty gets it. He knows ball. And Chad.
He said clip that too. Like I didn't say. I think you said the same thing when we were talking about on Friday. There were a couple people that said clip that when I said there is not a shot that Eagles plus money at home was paying out. So you can play that clip right after you clip this one. 3.5.
Yep.
Even 3 juicy is telling with the Cowboys.
Agreed. And all the 49ers are fake sharp criers all over the feeds are absolutely in piss after the weekend. It was always the 49ers as a fat favorite on the road in Philly. Don't ever think it, guys. That was the play of the millennium. It was the easiest bet of all time. I wish I put more on it. Only thing I'm worried about right now. W's, Javon, I got to get pissed about Ron Rivera because like Chad has been talking about and making sure that I know, we also lost this weekend, and we lost in an embarrassing fashion. So, Goots, run that shit. I'm trying to get pissed. It's safe to say we did not take command against the Dolphins this weekend, Javon. I think that's pretty fair. Look, Ron Rivera taking over the defense, right? Taking over the play calling duties. That should work out well, I bet. Doing the field analysis before kickoff, Javon. We've got, the lady on the field talking about how she just met with Ron and how he's going to simplify this defense today. Shocker hearing that, Javon, because that's really the only thing Ron can do is keep it simple and keep it stupid is what Ron does. He is so lost, and he's been carried on the coattails of guys like Cam Newton, of defenses, of elite caliber with guys like Josh Norman and Luke Kuechly. This guy has been carried by his players, by his teams, more than any other coach I've ever seen. He's got the longest leash ever. He's got more respect, I think, personally, than he deserves tenfold. I don't get it. And it was good to see, honestly, last night, Javon. It was good to see yesterday afternoon Ron Rivera get embarrassed when he took over the play calling duties and took over the DC duties after Dust Up Del Rio got canned. I think people expected better results out of the defense and thought that Jack Del Rio was the problem. But what they're going to come to learn, at least if they didn't already after that one game, it's that it was not Del Rio. He was never the problem. The problem is at the top. The problem is with Coach Ron Rivera, who every year or two gets to fire one of his coordinators and blame it on them, and somehow he keeps getting away with it. I don't get it. I don't understand it, Javon. You got guys like Tyreek Hill after the game talking about how he doesn't even understand the defenses that were being run against him. He thought it was pretty disrespectful. Look at what he said, Javon. Not for real man here, because those guys are great at what they do and they also get paid. But at some point, it's like, I don't know. I just appreciate it. They're not respecting me. And he's talking about them playing man-on-man coverage against Tyreek, not double covering him, not running any sort of zone, literally just letting Tyreek Hill run loose. And you guys saw what happened yesterday. That didn't look like a better simplified offense. That looked like an even worse defense. This team is completely given up. Ron Rivera is not saving any cultures. And Javon, we've seen coaches come out of the woodworks like Gruden recently, chirping Ron Rivera in that culture, which is hilarious to see, guys. When Jay Gruden got canned about 4 or 5 years ago, Ron Rivera came in and talked about how he's going to change the culture, and that's going to be the difference here. And all they got to do is, bring in better guys and have better people and more effort. Well, it's been 4 years. And what the fuck has happened? Nothing. I go as far to say we're even further behind than when we had Coach Gruden at the helm. I know that Coach Gruden could at least call plays. I know Coach Gruden at least knew what was going on in the NFL and with football. Guys, Ron Rivera is literally Sleepy Ron. He is a puppet. He doesn't know what the fuck is going on. He roams around in practice, not talking to anybody, talking to himself. He has completely lost it. And it was good for me to see that defense get obliterated last night, honestly. And yeah, as you can see here, Commander's Twitter was letting him have it last night, Javon. You can see here in the new role as defensive coordinator, Rivera going with a little bit more of a left over right arm for the cross on the sidelines instead of the typical right over left. That was probably the only change that was made to the defense yesterday. What a joke. What a joke Ron Rivera is. And let's take a peep at his history. Guys, you tell me why he deserves any sort of respect. He's got like 2 winning seasons in the last 9 years. Sorry, 4 in the last 13. I don't get it. He's one of the worst coaches in the last decade. And we talk about him being a great guy. We talk about him changing cultures. He hasn't changed shit. If anything, he's literally scammed his way through paychecks in the NFL for the last half a decade, Javon. And I am tired of watching this guy not do shit. I'd rather have my fucking stapler calling plays for our defense than Ron Rivera. He is so lost. And he's not a good coach. And I'm tired of people thinking he is.
Yeah, dude. Without MVP Cam season, Ron Rivera would be, I don't know, he'd struggle to be the head of a McDonald's down the road at this point. He'd be flipping Big Macs. But you can thank Cam Newton for the reason why everybody thought he was a good coach for a couple years, and now he's running your shit team.
You know it's bad when Jay Gruden's chirping you from the sidelines. Yeah. That's when you got to hang him up. Okay. Let's move. Let's groove, chat. We've got other things to talk about today. We've got other things to bitch about today. The college football playoffs are set, folks. Javon, what are your thoughts on the 4 teams that were selected from the committee yesterday around noon? Are you happy with who's in? Are you a little upset with somebody who got left out? Do you think the best 4 teams are in? Do you think that the committee did the right thing? Where is your head at, Javon, now that we know the 4 teams competing in the college football playoffs?
I think it's a joke that FSU is not in the playoff. Like the fact that, first of all, I mean, the whole mantra of the best 4 teams, people try to use that argument now, but in reality, it's been the 4 most deserving teams for the 9-10 years since the playoffs been a thing. But the difference is now an SEC team didn't fit into that little bubble, so they had to move the goalposts for them. So the reason Alabama and Texas are in is because they had to put in Alabama, and you couldn't put Alabama in without playing Texas. So who caught the short end of the stick? FSU, because there was a way for them to do that, and it would be justified in their eyes. But the fact that, I don't know, there's a couple different ways that this just doesn't make sense. People want to say, oh, you don't have the quarterback in Jordan Travis, so you automatically know just how competitive FSU is going to be. If we talk about sides of the ball, just talking about the teams, Michigan's defense is great. Washington's offense is great. Obviously, on other side of the ball, they're pretty handicapped. FSU's defense is right up there with one of the more dominant fronts that's going to be or would have been in the playoff. So it's kind of a joke to act like there's only one side of the ball, but also people that are acting like they know exactly how FSU is going to compete come the playoff. Like, games aren't played on paper. And the fact that people are saying, oh, they're going to be 10-point underdogs to Michigan or whoever they would face. First of all, the playoff has not always been competitive. Last year was the first year that I think we've seen both games be competitive. So it's not act like there's not blowouts 24/7 in the college football playoff anyway. But you haven't seen anything from FSU to say that they won't be competitive. The offense that they're going to have, it's not the Brock Line offense that you saw in the ACC championship, because he wouldn't be playing. It would be Tate Rodemaker, who you've seen in one game. And that one game was on the road in the swamp with 12-0 on the line, very conservative game scripts. There is not a single quarterback, a backup quarterback on a college roster who is going to play well in that situation. And he played fine. He's not going to go out there and throw for 300. Not a single quarterback is, and not a single quarterback's going to be let do that. So to act like they've seen FSU play for 5 games and they know exactly how competitive they're going to be is ridiculous and a joke. And if you look at everything surrounding them, like, people are like, oh, you're going to see a big spread. So you automatically know that FSU is not going to be competitive. So why even put them in? So I looked at some numbers here. The average margin of victory in a college football playoff semifinal is 19, just over 19, which that's a conversation in itself of, you want to act like every game is competitive. It's really not. So let's just say a blowout is constituted by going over that margin. So 20 or more. Teams that won by 20 or more points. There's been 9 games where teams have won by 20 or more points in the playoff semifinals. 5 of those, and I'm using this number as a baseline because 7.5 is the highest projected spread that you could get with these 4 teams. And I think it was maybe Washington, Alabama. It's the highest you would have got. It's always also a 1-possession game. So I'll say that constitutes a competitive game. Out of the games that were above the average margin of victory of 19, meaning some team won by 20 or more, 5 of the 9 games were spreads that were 7.5 or under. And the other 4 were double-digit spreads. So if you want to double-digit spreads or higher spreads makes the game less competitive in the context of the playoff, it's not true at all. And if we look at year to year, the 9 seasons of the playoff so far, between the 2 games, between the 2 semifinals, the game with the larger spread has been a more competitive game 5 of the 9 years. So again, the bigger spread has nothing to do with the outcome. It's both of these teams competing. You don't know how the teams are going to play. And you could even say 6 of 9 because one of those was a 20-point win, but the underdog won. So again, not a real bearing on how the college football playoff is going to play out. So that's kind of the issue here. Like, the reason that Vegas looks like it does is because people and square bettors and public bettors, they think exactly how the college football playoff committee thought, and thinking that the game is played on paper, they're not going to have a shot. So why even play the games at this point? It's just kind of ridiculous to set this precedent and start a whole narrative about bullshit. I mean, you shouldn't even play it. If they're going to be out of the conversation, they should have been ranked 8 the second Jordan Travis dropped and got injured and hurt his leg. So I mean, if we talk about FSU and say they were not impressive when he went down. You don't know shit and you can't project it. It's ridiculous for people to act like they can. I mean, I know you're an ACC guy, so I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
I don't like the precedent that it sets where you get a team to take care of business. You get a team to go undefeated, which the committee is, in the past stated multiple times how important it is. You get a team to win their Power 5 conference, which the committee has stated in the past how important that is. They do their jobs, and just because their QBs get hurt, you're punishing that team, you're punishing that school for doing their jobs. I'm not surprised that this happened. Do I think it's right? No, it's not right. And chat, anybody with half a brain could sit here and drop a comment and say, well, nobody wanted to see Florida State play in this. We want to see the better teams right now. No shit. Everybody could come to that conclusion that, yeah, I bet the Bama-Michigan game is probably going to be a little bit closer maybe than the Florida State-Michigan game. That's not what this is about, okay? This is about these kids who work their asses off their entire life is football, and they do their jobs. They take care of business. They check off all the boxes that the committee in the past has said you got to do to get in. They do it, and then another shiny toy is right next to you, and the committee picks them even though it should be you because you did your job. It sucks. It's a terrible precedent for these kids who worked their butts off and had to overcome adversity 10x more than any of these other teams up here on the board. Florida State does it out of nowhere, miraculously pulls out 2 crazy wins with crusty QBs, and then you punish them because the viewing pleasure of the people and the customers is tainted. Guys, Florida State's defense can hang with any of these teams. Florida State's defensive line has 3 pros on it. Florida State's defense the last 2 weeks showed up and won themselves those 2 games. Who's to say they couldn't make another 3rd game weird with any of these schools? Guys, if we know that for a fact, like Javon said, why even fucking play the games? Let's just rank them and let's just move on and nobody gets hurt and then we just give out the awards. Why fucking play them? Florida State got snubbed. It sucks to say. We knew somebody was going to get shafted, and they shafted the school who they knew overall their customers, at the end of the day would be the least butthurt about, because once these games come on, in their eyes, they're going to give the best, product on the field. And I don't even know if that's true. I would love to see Florida State's backup go out there with that defense and that chip on their shoulder against the number 1 seed in Michigan. I'd be willing to bet that Florida State would keep it within that number. And I'd be willing to bet that chip on their shoulder would make that game weird, because this is not the pros, folks. This is college. Okay.
Yeah.
And the mental stuff like that matters more in college than any other sport.
And people say the same stuff. People say the same stuff that they were saying against TCU last year when Michigan went to play them. There's no shot that they would be competitive in that game. And what do you know? You're all fucking wrong. So that's why the game is not played on paper. And the funny thing that I see is that people are using TCU as like a cautionary tale. Like, that what happened in the national championship is a cautionary tale. And they looked at that and they're like, we don't want to put a team that we don't think is going to be as competitive in the playoff. How the hell did TCU get there? They got there by beating an undefeated Michigan team who, if anything, if you want to say that says more about Michigan and how deserving they were to be in the playoff than TCU does, because they had to beat them to get there. They put up 51 points against one of the highest regarded defenses in all of college football. So that's ridiculous. Also, like, I talk about FSU's defense, and people just can't get that through their head that there's 2 sides of the ball that are very good. There's 2 teams that held the offense of the future Heisman winner, Jaden Daniels, under 30 points. It was FSU and it was Alabama. And there's only one team who did it when Jaden Daniels played all 4 quarters of the game because he got hurt against Bama. Didn't play the 4th quarter. And that was FSU. So they held their lowest output of the season, 24 points. So to say that their defense can't keep them in a game is absolutely ridiculous. And to say that exactly what their offense is, not because of what they saw on the ACC championship, because that's not the offense that would have been in the playoff. It would have been Tate Rodemaker, not Brock Glenn, who found out he was starting 45 minutes before the game. And it's a true freshman that hadn't taken more than a snap before that game. It was going to be Tate Rodemaker. So to say that exactly what that offense is going to be, because they had a pretty conservative game script on the road in the swamp where literally every team has struggled. To be honest with you, Joe Milton and the Tennessee offense looked worse in the swamp than FSU's offense did. So to say that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, FSU, as bad as they were in the ACC championship too, as bad as people want to say they were, they outgained Michigan in their conference championship. They actually outgained Michigan against Iowa's defense So if you want to complain about somebody's offensive performance, we all respect Iowa's defense, and that's fantastic. Louisville, by the metrics, is not a bad team and not a bad offense. They average 30 points per game, so their defense locked in on that side of the ball too. So to say that everybody knows just exactly what this FSU team is ridiculous, and the fact that you're making a definitive decision off of a 13-0 season to say that they can't compete in the game is unreal.
Yeah, let's see it. It was the same thought process when TCU was lined up to play Michigan and nobody fucking believed at all. I think it might have been even worse. Nobody on earth thought TCU had a fucking pulse in that game. The spread was fat and TCU won outright. Let them play the games. Put the teams in who deserve it. Put the teams in who are undefeated. Put the teams in who deserve to be there, who have, checked the boxes of all the other schools you put in the last 5 years. I just don't get it. And personally, I think that Florida State should have gotten in over Bama and Texas should already be in. So I would have put Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State in for my 4. I understand it's very hard financially and for the committee to wrap their heads around keeping Bama out after they win that SEC championship, but that would be my 4.
Remember too, they just ESPN, who runs the committee and pretty much everything around college football, they just dumped $200 million into the SEC, which now also includes Texas. So that's putting Bama in is the easiest way to protect your investment, especially when you have also the only conference that opposed pretty heavily any sort of playoff expansion was the ACC. So, I mean, politically, there's a lot going on at work there too, and it kind of sucks to see. And it definitely has, as a person who's worked for 3 years in a football recruiting department, one of the first things that you're going to tell a guy, or that a guy is going to want to hear when you bring them in for a visit, is how can I contribute to a national championship, or what role do you see me having in a national championship run? And the fact that FSU, what are they going to say now to any of those guys? You're going to say, do everything perfectly. If there's a situation out of your hands, an extenuating circumstance that somebody deems is too important for you not to compete, got nothing to tell you. Sucks. You're not going to compete for a national championship because you're not in the SEC, pretty much. And even though people cry about their strength of schedule, their strength of record was better than both of the teams that they could have had an argument to get in. So that's another thing. And people love to bring up the same thing with like a Cardale Jones, who came in third string, dominated their conference championship, even though they were like 17-point favorites in that game. The difference is they had a loss. Ohio State did to your boys, Virginia Tech. I'm pretty sure that was Virginia Tech here. So to say that it's just ridiculously easy to play not only an ACC schedule that people give way too much disrespect to, but also they went and they played a neutral site game and went on the road in their non-conference against the greatest conference of all time, the SEC, in 2 different games. Give them credit. Give them credit. People don't want to, but that's a lot harder than it sounds. And if you're the committee talking about how good the SEC is, that is a ridiculously hard thing to do. So even with, the defense really won them both of those games, if we're being honest here. So to show FSU that kind of disrespect in here is absolutely unreal. Unreal.
Yep. Terrible precedent it sets, but unsurprisingly, college football, the committee, they went the SEC routes. They went the big name route. They went the route that's going to fill up their pockets the most. Shocker. And not the right thing. But you know what? Bitching's not going to change it. Let's pivot. You want to talk about what these spreads are at right now real quick? I know the games today absolutely stink. Chad, I know you guys keep saying talk about the games today. How about you guys talk about the games today? They fucking suck. You guys found the winner today. Drop it in chat. Because the games today might be the worst slate we've seen in 3 months since Dog Days of Summer. So you guys let me know what you like on the slate. I promise we'll spend time going over all the sports the last 40 minutes of the show and finding you guys winners like we always do. But this is the most moose shit slate in months. So we're going to talk about other stuff like this. And let's talk about these spreads, Javon, really quick. We've got Bama and Michigan. Looks like Bama is getting 1.5 points. I believe they opened up a 2.5-point favorite briefly, 2.5-point underdog briefly before moving down to +1.5 here, Javon. I personally like the Tides. I've seen a lot of people taking the Tide and talking about them already, though. So I'm not saying they're not going to be public. They might be.
It's almost like the championship's already decided, according to everybody. So I want to keep an eye on how the lines move, because everybody's taking Bama as a dog, which is probably the most enticing play out of the both teams, and then I've already seen like 10 max plays on Texas. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I out of the two, I would be definitely more inclined to fade Michigan or fade Alabama in that spot than fade Texas. But I got to see exactly how those spreads move. And I don't know. There's definitely going to be something wrong with one of those games because the whole public is not getting both of those games right.
And just like every single year, there's always some crazy shit that happens in the college football playoffs. That's why we love it, because it doesn't just go chalk every time. If it did, people wouldn't care like it as much. It'd be boring. Guys, if every one seed or every best team just won and covered every time, we wouldn't love the sport as much. Okay, we need the crazy shit. And I'm excited as heck to watch this Washington-Texas matchup, Javon. I know Trent, low-key, is a Washington fan. He's kind of been rooting for them, and honestly, he's been betting on them all fucking year, going up against Lauren's team in Texas. That's going to be a fun matchup. Longhorns laying 4.5 points. I think that's a pretty fat spread, but let's not act like Washington's been getting any line respect recently. They haven't. And
that's what I was going to say. I was going to say, based on some of their lines, it almost seems like a lot of respect for Washington, which it's kind of what I thought. First look at this game. I mean, they're 9.5-point dogs against Oregon on a neutral. They were, even if you go back a couple weeks, they're 2.5-point dogs for a majority of the week against Oregon State on the road. So, I mean, Texas, who is the greatest team ever, apparently, only catching 4.5. I was expecting 6.5, personally.
Yeah,
but
and that total is high as fuck in the Texas-Washington game. Even if it goes down, even if the under hits, I think it's high.
Is it high?
Yeah. 64 in a college football playoff game is high.
I don't know that it is.
Has there ever been a total at 64 in a college football playoff game? I don't know. I honestly don't think there has been a
matchup for it, aside from maybe LSU Oklahoma game where they put up that much themselves, pretty much.
Dude, scroll down a spec. Do they have other matchups for January 8th other than Washington, Michigan? Yeah, they do. Okay. Yeah, chat, we don't have any sort of secret recipe here. Or they weren't giving us a free hint. There's other matchups below. I like where your head's at, though, chat. Trying to find edges. But yeah, they got potential spreads for any of these sort of outcomes. Right now, I personally think it's probably Texas and Bama, but Javon, after talking through that, it seems like everybody is on that same wavelength. So I don't know. Bama's a dog. Maybe that is telling. Maybe that's spread against Washington. For Texas there, maybe it's not as fat as I thought, but Washington continues to cover and win. I thought it was initially kind of fat for Texas. I think that total was a little bit high for Texas-Washington, but these teams score a lot of points. There's a lot of holes on that Washington defense too. So very curious to see how these lines end up moving and grooving as we get closer to the game.
You know what the initial vibes that I get from this is? As much as I really don't like them, don't like to bet on them either, this Michigan spot screams to me of Virginia post UMBC win in the college basketball and March Madness. Redemption after one of the most embarrassing losses. Obviously, like, it's not a UMBC situation directly. You don't really have those in college football in the playoff, but that's probably the biggest underdog story in college football playoffs' 10-year existence. I say you could argue TCU winning that game, and Michigan's coming off of that where nobody really expects them because they played a soft schedule. Everybody respects their defense, very obviously, but you got probably the hottest team in college football coming in to play them as a dog in the semifinals, and then you get a couple of teams that are fan favorites that they would have to play if they win that game on the other side. So, I mean, this, in my opinion, screams UVA redemption story.
Okay, interesting angle. I'll be honest. I mean, you can't really make Bama a favorite against Michigan, the number 1 seed, probably. But if they were, then I'd definitely be on Bama. I don't think you can make Bama a favorite against Michigan. I don't think
I'd say you could.
That would be crazy.
I don't know, man.
I mean, they could do whatever, but that would be nuts.
It's Alabama, though.
That'd be eye-opening.
How many times have they been dogs outside of against Georgia?
None.
Like
they never
it's
are.
Literally every game. Every game they play anybody else, they have damn near never been an underdog.
You're right. The last 4 times he's been an underdog, we're all to Georgia. They were talking about that before the game.
Yeah. And I mean, now you see them as a dog when they're at probably their hottest point. Jalen Milrose playing fantastic. Their whole team's playing fantastic. everybody damn well has seen the video of what Michigan being pissed that they drew Bama instead of FSU. So I mean, it's not like anybody is going to be any type of Michigan fan for this matchup in this game. I don't think anybody believes in them.
Good point.
Which I'm not saying I'm 100% there yet, but just my first instinct is definitely Bama as a dog to any better, casual better for the college football playoff looks like the freest value of all time.
Yep. Okay. Well, either way, whether the right teams are in or not, whether the spreads are right or not, chat, we are in for an absolute treat once these games appear in 2 weeks? They get a week off, and then we see these guys face off head to head.
And before we move on, they should be a favorite against the number one team. And let's talk about. I think the spreads don't reflect the teams. And if you put Georgia in this playoff, respectfully, they're going to be a favorite against every team. They don't deserve to be there, but they're going to be a favorite against every single team in this playoff. So the spreads don't mean shit in terms of who should be there, who should not. That's just kind of the respect they get. And if you want to put the logic of the 4 best teams out of the college football landscape right now, Georgia would also be there. So that really has nothing
over Washington.
Yeah.
I was talking to my roommates about this last night. I'm like, okay, if people want to go with the narrative of putting the best 4 teams in and fucking over a team like Florida State, who did their job and went undefeated, sure. But then let's actually put the best 4 teams in. Because if I did a Madden ranking of all these teams and gave them an actual number based on their fucking roster they have on paper and nothing else, like literally gave them like a 90 overall ranking in Madden or some shit like that. If I actually did that for all these teams, I don't know if Washington would be in the top 4. I don't think they would. So if you actually want to put the best 4 teams in, then put the best 4 teams in, because I don't know if you did.
That's why, like, I could get down with if they just put the best 14 and like, I don't want to see Alabama and Georgia, and I'm not saying that, but if we want to just strictly put the best 4 teams in, they're the best 4 teams, or they're 2 of the best 4 teams, and the other 2 would have to be decided on elsewhere. But the problem, like I had with FSU, is there's a hole in every argument. Like, they didn't put the best 4 teams in, they didn't put the most deserving 4 teams in. They had to jump, skip, and hop over a way to get the SEC in and the new SEC member too in. So basically both of them.
Yep. All right. W's. Let's keep moving.
While we're talking about Georgia for a second, you want to take a look at some of the bowl games, see which ones look a little enticing.
Chat, who's trying to go to the Military Bowl? Don't get too excited now. It is on a Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, but we could still go. All right. Who's trying to roll to Annapolis with me and see the Hokies face off against Tulane? That might be the best bowl game of the year. Slept on, under the rug. Nobody's talking about it. Do not sleep on the Hokies. Very curious to see what that spread is at, if it's out. But Javon, all jokes aside, any other bowl games that are catching your eye that you want to watch?
We can go to the end and I guess start with the New Year's Six, because those are the bowls I guess people care about a little more, and go to the end there.
Feeding crabs made me a billionaire. Literally went 4-1 yesterday. Doesn't make any sense. People just think I'm the worst gambler of all time. They don't even look at my bets.
Nah, I'm sure they have slips.
Unbelievable.
Dude, that Liberty game, a lot of people are pissed that Liberty got in. And I don't understand why. Because it was either them or SMU. And if people want to hold themselves, if you're saying Liberty shouldn't be in a
standard, yeah.
I know. Hold yourself to the same standard as FSU, because SMU, what do they have? They have a quarterback that broke his leg, so they're not the same team without Preston Stone, you could argue. So Liberty, I don't know what the Oregon situation is going to be personnel-wise. Like, Bo Nix is confirmed playing. I don't know if everybody else is, but their offense can hang in that game, and I think it'll be pretty exciting to watch. I think it'll be more interesting than people think. I can nearly guarantee you I'm going to put coins on Liberty in that game. I think it'll be fun. I don't think their defense can realistically hang with a fully healthy and, I don't know, playing Oregon offense, but that'll be a fun game.
That's going to be, the Super Bowl for Liberty, right? You're going to get maximum effort for them, probably 0 effort from Oregon after they flopped right on the biggest stage when they could have gotten in. So, yeah, I'll take the points at Liberty. Sure.
Gladly.
Why not?
Gladly.
All right. Some other good games here. LSU laying 10 to Wisconsin. Sure. You got Tennessee and Iowa. That game stinks. Give me the under in that game. All right.
I guess we got to go.
Looks like we already got the playoff games there, so we'll go the other way.
Yeah.
Let's see
go
what else
up a
we're
little
working
bit.
with here, folks.
Georgia, Florida
Florida
State.
State.
It's like that game's just a lose now for FSU. Because like what happens
really
if
is.
Georgia, because they already have announced they got people sitting out of that game, and it's probably going to be on both sides. So like if they get blown out in that game, they never deserve to be in the playoff. If they win that game, you get the classic age-old SEC excuse of, oh, Georgia is playing for national championships. They don't want to be there. And they have guys sitting out. It's like there's literally zero situation for FSU to win that narrative.
Yeah, maybe stay out of these two gentlemen's way the next couple of days. They look like they are pissed.
They look
I
excited.
would be too. They look pissed.
They should be. They're just not they're not used to being in this situation. Kirby definitely.
That's literally why the committee put them against Georgia, so that the committee would look right.
Saved their ass. They saved their ass. So like, there's literally no way for them to win in that situation. It's just like they know that on both sides you're going to have guys not playing. FSU has already announced more than Georgia. Georgia's probably going to be out, have a couple more guys playing than usual to prove a point. But yeah, if they lose, any big SEC team, when they lose in a bowl game, Texas beat Georgia and won. Like you've had a couple of the top SEC teams lose. It's always because they don't want to be there. It's never because they just lost the game. There's always an excuse. It's like same thing. Like any of the teams that got snubbed out of the playoff, which I don't want to use the excuse that UCF in their undefeated season got snubbed, but they beat Auburn, and it was because Auburn's shitty. Auburn wasn't playing to be there. When TCU beat Ole Miss, when they got snubbed in 2014, is because Ole Miss didn't want to be there and they really weren't that good. It's just always the same story. So there's no way for them to win.
Mm-hmm. The old lose trick. It's one of the oldest tricks in the book. Not surprised to see the committee implementing that one. Okay.
Yeah.
What else we got? Keep scrolling. I want to see that Hokie spread. I want to see with my own eyeballs. Terps Auburn. That game is going to be shit. Give me the Terps though.
Ohio State, Mizzou.
Ooh. Give me Mizzou. Give me the points.
I want to see how that one moves because I think it's surprise. If Ohio State, I don't think they're going to stay at that price, but if they're at that price with no quarterback,
no QB,
and assuming there's going to be more guys opt out for Ohio State, including the main man, I don't know why they should be a favorite in that game.
Okay. Maybe Mizzou will have some guys out.
I don't know if they will. This is their Super Bowl. They don't usually get here.
Yeah, it looks like the line already came down.
Yeah, I saw it already came down. It should be. They should be favored by the time everything is announced. And if they're not, I'd be a little concerned.
Okay. Sources are telling me there's no Hokie spread out yet. That's okay. They're probably just making sure they don't put out the wrong spread because there's going to be a ton of handle on that one. Although, to be all jokes aside, I bet you if you looked at like all the schools' handles and looked to see like which teams are getting bet on the most, VT would probably be like way higher than they should be because you got all these dudes who just care way too much about the team. But does not mean we should be betting on them. Oh, there is a spread, just not up on the green book. Okay, Hokies -5.5 against Tulane, who I'm assuming is going to have everybody resting or out. And the Hokies are probably going to want to play their hardest because they care about stuff like this more than they should. Okay. Hokies -5.5 against Tulane. Kind of like it. That's some respect. Yeah. I mean, look, fully healthy, Tulane wipes the floor with us, but they're going to be sitting guys and they're not. Okay. What else, Javon? Any other games you want to cover before we pivot to Monday Night Football?
What else do we got? I mean, if I'm going to take any square stance in bowl games, it's probably going to have to be with Notre Dame, be honest with you. Which I don't know exactly who's going to be playing for them in that game, which I'm going to wait to make sure. But Oregon State, no coach, no Damian Martinez, no DJ, no backup quarterback either. He just entered the portal, which I don't know how they would use him because he's more of a gadget guy anyway, but that Oregon State team is.
Wait, Oregon State's stud 4-star QB who they've been grooming to take over after DJ next year is also in the portal?
Childs, yeah. He's cooked.
Damn.
Yeah, he's also in the portal. So, I mean, that team is gutted. I just, especially, I mean, Oregon State's defense is good. I don't know how many of them are going to play, but against that Notre Dame defense, who is extremely deep, I don't know how that offense is going to score a point. I think that game, which nobody probably remembers this because it's a super relevant game, but Oregon State played Florida in Vegas in a very similar situation. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, and they beat them like 38-0 or something crazy. I don't know the exact score. This feels like the exact same game. Just flipped, obviously.
Okay. Go Irish, go.
Yeah.
Could be in. Keep scrolling here, Goots. Looks like Clemson's laying 7 is what I'm seeing over there. Yep. To Kentucky.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Arizona, Fafita. The story continues. 3.5 against Oklahoma with no QB and probably a lot of other guys sitting out. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, give me the Sooners.
Okay, Boomer.
Jackson Arnold party.
All right. SMU laying 10.5 to your BC boys.
Dude, I mean, they're probably going to dominate that game. I'm not going to lie. That's just like I'm so pissed because Boston College and Cal, I wanted to find my way to one of their bowl games because Cal was projected to be somewhere in Texas, and the only other option is where they are in Shreveport, and Boston College was going to be in Tampa, which I would have probably been there anyway. But they declined that because it was too close to Christmas and finals, and they chose an 11 a.m. kickoff 30 minutes away in Fenway Park instead, where they get to play a 10 or 11 win team, I guess, at this point. So good luck to them. They're going to get trounced.
Yeah, they're screwed. All right. And then, Louisville, USC, anything there? NC State, Kansas State?
No, not at all. That total is, I know we're probably not getting a majority of the big weapons for USC, obviously, but it's a low total for that game.
Yeah. All right. Oh, there's the Hokies.
There's the Hokies.
They're up to 6. Let's go, VT.
6
Sure.
is huge.
Chat, seriously, I'll probably be at that game in Annapolis. I think it's on December 28th. It's on the Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Definitely going to do some sort of tailgate. So if anybody's local in the DMV, anybody wants to go to a game, chill in Annapolis after, grab some beers, roll through. All right, I got to go see my Hokies in person. That'll be good. 27th. W gotcha. Fuck yeah. All right, Javon, let's pivot. Let's talk about Cincy versus Jacksonville. Don't get too excited now for this NFL matchup. We need to talk about it, though. Monday Night Football action. Spreads up to 10 in this game. Not really that surprising. Obviously, Cincy without a stud QB now, with Burrow out for the season. They're at 5-6. Their season's over. Who knows how much motivation we're going to get out of the Bengals tonight? Probably not much. Looking at that 10-point spread. Jacksonville, I don't think they're as good as their record is. I don't think they're as good as their spot, in the playoffs, at least projected right now. But they're still 8-3, and they're playing against a Cincy team without their QB, and they have won 4 of their last 5 and covered. So you got to tip your cap. The Jags have been taking care of business and doing their jobs. Javon, tough spread that to find action on. Any opinions on the 10-point spread?
This one is ridiculously difficult to figure out. Partially just because I can't get a good grip on what the Bengals are going to do in this game. Obviously, everybody knows the quarterback situation there, but it's kind of evolved to a point against the Jags defense where I kind of think they're going to be okay, and not to say they're going to go out there and put up 30 points because they're obviously not, but I think they can be competitive for some part of this game. And I really don't want to take the plus 10 because I do think the Jags offense is going to walk all over that defense too, but if anything I'm taking here, I think it might be the over, which is scary to say in a primetime game. But I like the matchup for a lot of these guys. And if there's one kind of part that you want to be successful against, or one scheme that you want to be successful against with this Bengals offense, it's a lot of press man coverage where you're going to have a lot of, I don't want to say easier throws, but it's not like from the quarterback position, you're going to have to make incredible reads. So the Jags, their defense is kind of set up for the Bengals to be somewhat competitive. So that's kind of what I lean, because I don't think the Bengals defense is going to be able to stop the Jags offense. I think they're going to walk all over them. So, I think we get points in this game, which I hate backing after 2 really good primetime games, but that's kind of where my head's at for this game.
So this will make you like the over a little bit better. Just looking at the Washington Splittertons here on the Green Book, 54% of bets, 81% of handle on that over on the Green Book. So some fatty bets coming in on this over, Javon, on that total over 40. We're also seeing this total, which apparently opened up at 41 a couple weeks ago. That's got to be a look ahead line. Got down to 38-ish this week, and now it's up to 40. And so we are seeing that total get steamed back up to 40 or 40 and a half, depending on what book you are looking at. Maybe we do get some points. Although, Javon, the blue book still does have it at 39 and a half. Overall, though, we're seeing most of these books bump that total up today. And the splits do look a little sharp and fat. So I wouldn't be taking the under in this game.
All right. Yeah, I mean, definitely not. It's just like I love that you're getting T. Higgins back for Browning there. I think obviously an asset, definitely an asset against man coverage too. So like I just think it's a pretty decent matchup for points on both sides. Like I could very easily see a couple of really well-oiled touchdown drives from Jake Brown on the offense, which is scary to say, but I think they match up pretty well against the Jags. But at the same time, the Bengals, I think the last couple weeks, I don't know exactly where they rank, but I know last couple weeks, I've been seeing them up at the top near explosive plays allowed, where the Jags, like if you're going to see big plays from the Jags or you're going to see successful offense, it's been a lot of explosive plays, and teams that limit that, like the 49ers, very obviously make their offense look stupid. So, I mean, the Jags, they're really good at beating up on shitty teams. This is probably one where their offense does it, but I think the Bengals fight back a little bit too.
Okay. Flyer Faithful, no free ads. Not going to shout out what I'm using and everything I'm doing, but I try to look at as many sites and as many places as possible for splits. Obviously using Visson as the home base and is reliable and probably the most important one, but definitely checking 4 or 5 different sites. And if you want to know which ones I use, DM me. I'm not giving out any fucking free ads on here. Okay. All right. I'm down to take a peep at the Prize Picks board too, if we want to for this game, Javon, and maybe that'll kind of help us navigate. I'm looking at that Travis Etienne touchdown square up. Hasn't scored the last 3 weeks. Maybe that's a decent look today, although pretty public guy on the board tonight, right? Travis Etienne. I've seen him all over Twitter already.
Yeah. I mean, for the Jags, there's a couple of pretty court props or squares or whatever you want to limit it to. I don't really have a problem with taking square stuff for them in this game, though. Like I love Etienne. I think that's how, especially when they get up in this game, they're going to use a lot of Etienne. And the other guy that I've seen 70,000 times is Evan Ingram because of the target share he's been getting against this scheme and how poorly the Bengals have defended tight ends. So like I have no problem squaring up with Evan Ingram either. I just think it's going to be that type of offensive game for the Jags, or it's really not much resistance from them.
Can we talk about this fucking Trevor Lawrence pass and touchdown square, man? Because I'll tell you what, it's up every week and it never hits. It never, ever, ever hits. It's up every week. Javon, like, I've seen this up all season, and the chart looks like this all season, where maybe he sneaks one in there, or sometimes there's even none. Like it's crazy, and I keep wanting to, obviously take the more than here and try to catch the falling knife. And I always, ask myself, why the hell is this up once again? But in the back of my head, I tell myself that shit doesn't hit ever. And it's big name Trevor Lawrence, who's been carrying this Jags team, who I personally think is a little bit overvalued in the betting market right now. Not saying they're bad. They're going to be a playoff team. They deserve it. Lawrence is getting wins. He's doing his job. I just don't think they're probably as good as their seed right now. And we're seeing, look at the past history here. The guy doesn't throw 2 passing tutties, but it's up once again, Javon. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think if there's any game for it to actually turn green, it's today. And like, part of the reason why I think that is because I was talking about what the Bengals have done on defense. Like, I think they match up pretty poorly, but one of the reasons why they do that is because they've allowed explosive plays out of the ass. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if we see, I bet. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple of relatively longer touchdowns from Trevor Lawrence this week, or not this week, but tonight. So I wouldn't mind taking that.
Good point here from Phil's. Obviously, a W.
Yes.
Phil's nugget here as always. Ingram hasn't scored every year. He's up there for a combo.
He's in the combo with Mixon too, which not that that's like a off the wall guy, but as a 10-point dog with a running back in the square of the 10-point dog, it's not a relatively simple one. So like I would be down to take that combo square.
Okay, kind of reminds me of that Charbonnet combo square with Dalton Schultz or sorry, not
Yeah,
Dalton Schultz.
Jake
Jesus,
Ferguson.
with
Yeah.
Jake Ferguson the other day. I was like, okay, Charbonnet, I know he's starting today, and I know Kenneth Walker's out, but this guy has not scored ever, and everybody keeps talking about it, and now they're putting him up on the board. And what do you know? He gets his first career touchdown that game. Interesting. Okay.
I'm in a fantasy matchup, and the guy I'm playing, I'm up 12 points, and his last person is Evan Ingram. So I can guarantee you Evan Ingram's getting 12 fantasy points.
Yeah, well, we can go ahead and lock him in.
Lock that in.
Hilarious.
Boots holding on for dear
Yeah.
life in that fantasy matchup. Shit.
This is also a very big game for the Jags. Because he's right. They haven't played on Monday Night Football in over 10 years, which there is another situation like that where I think that was the Lions against the Raiders, where that was their first home game on Monday night in years. And that game got weird for a little bit. And I think the Lions ended up covering that game. But that game was weird for a majority of the start of the game. That's kind of same vibes that I'm getting here, where maybe the Bengals throw a little shocking punch in the mouth early, and like I think the Jags offense is going to dominate, but maybe it takes time. And they have a little adversity to get through.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit if this Jags team comes out nervous as hell and does not cover the spread. It's the Jags, right? And if this is their biggest game in over a decade, kind of is, with the trajectory of the season for this team, where they have a lane, they have an avenue to the playoffs, and they have a great seed as of right now. Huge letdown spot incoming. Would not be shocked one bit. Maybe we see this Bengals defense figured out. We know they're better than how they've been performing, and I know they've been in a tough spot, obviously playing on their heels with a shit QB, and so they're out there on the field way longer than they should be and normally are, and they're playing more and they're tired. But we need to see this Bengals defense show some heart. Maybe it will be today, maybe at least in the first half they will limit Trevor Lawrence's success. But I don't see the Bengals, pulling off an upset here. I don't see them making this game too weird, but I don't know if I want to be back in the Jaguars in their biggest game since 2012. That does not sound like a successful recipe for hitting the bet. Not with the Jags. Okay. Notorious.
Yeah, maybe not. Fair enough.
We got a couple subbies here. Javon, Cool Canes dude coming in hot with a subby. We got actually Nate coming in hot with a subby. W's gents. Unlawful JD coming in with a subby. We got Cubbies WC giving out a sub to the community. He's feeling good. Maybe he's hearing some of those Shohei rumors, potentially going to Chicago or a couple other places. Fat Girls Inc., you're a fucking beast for giving out a 10-piece. People forget he came in here and gave out 10 subbies to the community. Love to see it, boys. Let's keep moving and grooving. Javon, any other squares or angles from this game you wanted to talk about? They had that Lawrence interception square up. He's thrown 4 in the last 3 games combined. So maybe that's a cheeky little no pick for Lawrence tonight. Maybe they use.
I'll tell you what I'm certainly not doing anytime soon. Fading any pick square on primetime. If we want to talk about primetime unders, until the last couple of games have been very profitable. You know what else is right up there with it? Any quarterback they have on primetime for a pick square, aka Mahomes was up for one last night. Josh Dobbs was up for one on Monday nights. Like they're printing, and it's definitely, whether it's sharp or not, I can't get caught fading. But if he does throw a pick, I mean, that's another reason for this game to potentially get weird, especially, God forbid, the Bengals end up taking that back for 6. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, it would be something. People are talking about potentially targeting the backup RB tonight for the Jags, Javon. I know ETN has been a little bit banged up recently. Have you seen any of those angles? Are you getting behind them at all? I've heard some Dearness Johnson names being thrown around. Any squares that you wanted to take cheeky-wise like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it floating around. It's kind of like I don't hate it. I'm not running to the counter to back Dearness Johnson unless he had which on Prize Picks I know he doesn't, but if you're backing him, I'd say take something receiving-wise. Because I think if he's going to get in, I have confidence that if they're bringing Travis Etienne back, he's going to be back in full. So I want to bet on a workload there for him. But
this is crazy.
It's stupid to do it. I think that's just messed up odds, isn't it?
You might just be getting cheese, brother.
He's damn near plus 400 everywhere else. I was looking as he said that.
Well, that's
so I don't really
know.
My
man, real Nicky Gambles needs to find a new book. Okay, you're getting chased. All right, that can't be happening. Come on now. Yeah, plus 390, sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, this game stinks. Today's card stinks, but that does not mean, chat, that there's not money to be made. There is, and we're going to find plenty of plays. Javon, I personally am not going to have any king of the board plays for today. I'll probably double up another day this week. Are you going to have any king of the board plays for this afternoon?
Don't believe I am.
Okay.
So
do you want to talk about some hockey or NBA?
Yeah, and I might actually, let me take that back. I might be considering one that I have to add after, but it's only because I'm waiting on a couple player announcements for this game. One of them being the goalie. Which this spot I kind of was eyeing regardless of where the line was or the line is now or where it opened, because the Stars and the Lightning are playing a little home and home. Saturday they played in Dallas. The Lightning are owned by the Stars whenever they come to Dallas, and I know because every single time they've come here, other than this past game this weekend, I've gone, and I have been going home in absolute moose piss because they suck anytime they come to Dallas, and they got worked 8-1 on Saturday, which Vasi does not get pulled very often in a game. It's happened like twice in his entire time starting with the Lightning. He got pulled in that game, and they got trounced, and that's the tail end of the Lightning's 4-game losing streak to this point. They've been fucking terrible. But now they're coming back to Tampa, which I assume Vasi is going to be in net, but he's not confirmed yet, which is the only thing I'm waiting for. Because Ottinger, who was in that game for the Stars on Saturday, he's going to be starting again. That's confirmed. But I want to take the Lightning. I think this is a perfect bounce back spot at home here, catching the Stars, who have been dominant on the road. Lightning have been better at home. That's not really a secret either, but this is a little flip-flop bounce back spot. I think they win this game, and I think they do it much differently than they've been able to do the last, couple of wins they've had. I think their defense is going to be much, much better in this game. Vasi's going to stand on his head. So give me the Bolts. The line's going to move against that. I don't really care. They won by 7 goals 2 days ago. It's kind of just how it goes. But give me the Lightning.
All right. Lightning ML, folks. Take notes. And Chad is requesting some CBB legacies, Javon, here. Let's take a peep at the slate. Couple okay games. We got Iowa playing up against Purdue, and that spread has come down from 14 to 12.5 for the Hawkeyes. Javon, any chance that Iowa shoots their way and keeps themselves, hanging around 10 points in this game?
There's a way, but I can tell you after Purdue's caught their little road upset to begin conference play that I feel like we get every single season, I will gladly not be fading them the game directly after that. So I'm
That's
good
fair.
on
Iowa does typically play Purdue pretty well. They've covered 4 of the last 5 times they played. They do hang with them, and typically, at least the last couple of years, Iowa's been able to shoot their way into this game and keep themselves around, even with big man Edey rolling around in the paint. So I'm with you. The spot stinks for Purdue coming off a loss. I don't think I'd be taking Purdue, though, even though they are coming off a really bad L to start out their year. There's just something about Iowa when they play Purdue, though, where I think they do keep it within 10 points in that spot. I don't.
Yeah, can't disagree there.
Okay.
Can we talk about the Shoreman?
You want to? University
kind
of
of
Maryland
want
Eastern
to.
Shore.
In my opinion,
ECU.
In my humble opinion, I think that ECU looks like the easiest play on the board, and I don't think it's relatively close.
Okay.
ECU, we backed them. I don't know if you were on here for that. I don't think you were. The day that
when they were weirdly a favorite on Friday, I think.
Yeah, they flipped to a favorite against UNC Wilmington, who, that UNC Wilmington team literally just strolled into Lexington and beat Kentucky on the road the game after that. College basketball, that's why we love it. Now they're, 16.5 down to 15 against a Maryland Eastern Shore team that every time they've gone on the road, they've lost by 20 plus. And that's against shitty teams at that. They lost by 20 against Temple. They lost by 20 against Notre Dame, who is rat shit. They lost by 37 against Liberty in their last game on the road. And I don't know what happened. They're a weird postponed game somewhere in between that or whatever the situation was there. So with Eastern Carolina coming off of this massive, massive win at home against the team where that win looks significantly better, Maryland Eastern Shore hasn't been the slightest bit competitive in any road game, really most games in general against any competent team. 16.5 down to 15 is weird. It's like that's screaming at me. And I don't know how many people are laying ECU minus 16.5 on any given day, except today, if you go on Twitter. because it looks like the easiest play on the board.
Do not sleep on University of Maryland Eastern Shore. These boys play hard.
You probably should, but not today, because they're, for some reason, I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're going to cover this game, and it doesn't make any sense.
There's a couple spreads like that today, Javon, with some good teams playing some random McGee's. Maybe not as random as University of Maryland Eastern Shore, but if you take a stroll down to Arkansas, coming off an insane big-time win against Duke, right, in their last contest, they're only laying 11.5 to Furman, who, yes, Furman is way better than UMES, don't get me wrong, but still Arkansas, who's coming off of that fucking monumental win, and a Furman squad who has not looked great recently. They've dropped 3 of their last 4. I just thought that spread was a little bit close, a little bit short. And that Furman team is always very competitive. Would not be surprised to see them keep it within the number either.
I agree. I just think Arkansas is just such a strange team. Because, like, if you catch them in the right matchup, they're, I don't want to say not very good, but not nearly like the Arkansas team that I think a lot of us expected. Injuries and weird rotational stuff, I guess, has been a slight part of that from game to game, but not enough to the point where they should be playing as poorly as they are sometimes. But now they're coming off of, some could argue, the most complete performance of the season. Furman, heartbreaking loss to Princeton on the road last week, or in their last game. Seems like a pretty good spot for them on the road too. So I have no issues thinking that. And then the game right below that is pretty interesting too. I know people were saying, looking at that line in chat, it's strange. And North Dakota State just got pumped on the road by San Jose State by 13 points. And now San Jose State opened a favorite, and now we're seeing North Dakota State flip to -3, which is
interesting,
incredibly strange. We don't see many situations like this where you have a team in non-conference play somebody twice, even if a tournament's involved. So to see that and see the line flip is pretty interesting, especially considering when you look at how that game went. It was 78-65. You go to the box score, what do you see? You see San Jose State shoot almost 50% from 3. So shooting 50% from 3.
That's just not going to continue. This team is
not sustainable. And I think this game, especially on the road in North Dakota State, is going to be a little lower scoring. Like San Jose State's not putting up 80 points again, not just because they're not going to shoot 50% from 3 again. A lot of teams have shot well against North Dakota State from 3 throughout the season, but that offense ain't built like that. So like this game, I like the under too. I've seen the under a couple places on Twitter, and I kind of like that play if we're talking about a public play that I think is going to hit. And how's it going to hit? Because North Dakota State's defense is going to be much better. They're going to play this game and control the tempo a little more, or a little better than they were able to in that first matchup a week or two ago. So if they come out, which San Jose State has not shot well from the field more than they have this year, if they come out and they're cold from 3, they're cooked. Because they're going to die.
North Dakota State has had a lot of time to think about that loss, and San Jose State's had a couple games in between now and then. I'm sure North Dakota State has had plenty of prep, plenty of practice the last week since that game, looking to get some revenge here at home. And you guys are going to think I'm joking, but the Shield Center out there in Fargo, not an easy place to play. This is one of the more competitive mid-majors in the last couple of years. North Dakota State, they might not have their best roster this season. Over the last 5 or 10 years, they don't. They're rebuilding a little bit, but this team can still score and hang, especially at home. They've been dominant years past, and they're undefeated this year already at home. Love this spot for them when they just lost to San Jose State, who shot out of their ass from 3 in that last contest. Now North Dakota State gets a chance to get some revenge here at home against the same squad with the weird line. And if we take a peep at the splits, sure, North Dakota State is a tad public, but seems like some fat bets are coming in on North Dakota State here at home in this spot on the spread, and the line is moving accordingly. So, yeah, go ahead and give me North Dakota State on the spread, on the ML, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to take. It's going to hit. All right? I'm in on that. This is the game of the night in CBB. Flyer Faithful, I wish you were wrong, but you're not.
Just might be.
It just turned into the game of the night because it's now my favorite play on the board. All right. Sure. North Dakota State. Fucking love it. If you guys want to watch that one, just make sure you subscribe to the Summit League Network. I'm going to have to find out where to fucking watch that. Might have to
Might be
pull
just
up
one
the
of those-
old YouTube.
That might be one of those websites. That might be one of those websites like the Mountain West Network does. You just
Oh,
have
I
to go to
love
their
the
site.
Mountain West
But you
Network.
have
Y'all
to
aren't
pay
even
for it.
locked on the Summit League yet.
Not yet, Goots.
Some of
You're
them
already in that puppy?
I'm already in there. Come on.
Oh my god,
Jeez.
he's
I
locked.
woke up. I saw the game of the night. I was like, I'm locked. I'm
Dude,
ready.
he's so locked,
Subscription
man.
purchased.
God.
Okay.
God.
Yeah, that could be on YouTube. All right. I'm from South Dakota. Watch a lot of Summit. North Dakota State is not very good. Yeah, well, why are they now a favorite against a team they just lost to?
Yeah,
I'll
I
wait.
mean, like we're talking about the Summit League. Respectfully, you're not finding many good teams in the Summit League. There's a handful, if that.
No.
So
Nope.
be realistic.
All right. We got a sub bang from Jake Engelbart. Subby, 8 minutes ago, 10 months. Let's fucking go, Jake. Love to see it. Cool Canes dude, subbing as well. Fucking awesome. The neck
Ooh.
network clears, bruh. I haven't had to
You
watch
know what,
that in a couple years now.
You know, it's an interesting angle about that too. I was looking to make sure I was right in saying this. This is their first D1 home game that North Dakota State's had. Because they've been on the road quite a bit. The only 2 home games they've had so far against Mount Marty and I don't know, Wisconsin Stout, whoever the fuck that team is.
Mount Marty spread was there. I remember that one.
Yeah,
Cashed out big.
had to have been plus 30 because they won by 27.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the first time they're going to be at home against an actual D1 opponent. And San Jose State, they haven't played that much on the road, but when they have gone on the road for the most part, it has not ended up faring too well for them. So they have the one game where they went to Texas Tech and put up 42 points, different class of team there. Then they went to Cal Poly, lost that game. And then they just came from Montana where they put up 58 points. So
Brutal.
if you're a team that is
Absolutely.
living or dying by the 3 ball and you're going on the road and haven't been very successful in shooting it on the road, good luck. Have fun.
Yeah. Give me the Jackrabbits, folks. Lock them in. North Dakota State. They are they're the Bison.
No, Bison.
South Dakota State's the
South Dakota
Jackrabbits.
State.
All right. Those games are always the worst. They always end up like 50 to 51. Freest unders ever. They turn into UVA. Give me the Bison, chat. Are you going ML or spread, Javon?
It's a good question.
Hmm.
I don't know. What are you thinking? Minus 150 just about. It like just recently moved up to 3. I know it was sitting at 2.5 for a little bit earlier this morning.
I'm pulling up the spreads.
I might
what
lay the
they're at.
ML just because I like the under in the game.
Let's see what they're at. MLs. You can still get some minus 140s, 145s around there. Okay. Blue
I'm
Book
fine with
has
playing.
140 as well.
Yeah, I'm down with playing
wanna go
minus
with that?
140, minus 145, and a
Okay.
game where it's a 137.5 total, and I like the under. I might need every point on my side there.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I've already seen it at 1-point win. All right. We'll go North Dakota State, ML. What other plays, Javon, you want to add to this? You want to add that hockey play?
The Lightning.
Yep.
I mean, I do. I just don't want to get screwed. If it doesn't end up being Vasi and Nets, I'd be a little concerned. But we realistically don't have many options.
Okay. I think we should put him in there.
I'm down for that.
TVML. If we have some more options, we can take it out, but I don't think we're going to. Let's go to the NFL game. Over.
I'd be down for the over.
Cincy Jags over. Sure. Okay. Any other college basketball or NBA? I know there's only, I think, 2 games in the association tonight. Nothing crazy. Boston, Indiana, and New Orleans and Sacramento. Only 2 games on.
Yeah, I definitely don't have anything in the NBA. But if we're putting, I don't know, anything else from college football or from college basketball, I guess our only options would be Furman or the Shoremen. Hell of a couple choices for a Monday morning.
Okay. You want to put in UMES for the vibes?
Yeah, I mean, you might have to.
Plus 15.5.
Might have to.
Score. Okay. And then we need one more play, Javon. Right now we've got North Dakota State ML. We've got Tampa Bay ML. We've got Cincinnati Jacksonville over 40. We've got UMES plus 15.5. Is there one more, Geyserman?
Royals team
Royals
total.
team total over. That could be a good look.
Could be a great look.
What about Arizona ML against my Caps as a favorite in catching steam?
I like the Yotes. I hate playing them at home because they get a lot of respect at home, and rightfully so. They've just been wagons. I mean, they had a little 2-game stretch where they just beat the Lightning and the Avs relatively dominantly at home. They've just been a wagon. That place is a weird place to play, so they get respect, and they're favorites for a reason. But I wouldn't hate squaring up with the Yotes.
You want to put them in? I don't know what other options we got, man.
Yeah, that's fair. Down for
I
that.
just went through all the sports, all the boards. We got Devin making music, giving a subby out to Sav Daddy. Let's fucking go, Dev. We got Hovey coming in, 20-month bang. Fuck yeah, Hovey. All right, let's put an Arizona ML in. And we ain't talking about the Snakes. Let's go Arizona ML. To wrap it up on the ice chat, we've got 5 plays, 5 winners on today's slate. The poll is up in the Twitch chat. Hurry up, go, 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 go. Get your vote in. We only have 2 minutes. Hurry up, go, go, go. We've got North Dakota State ML, Tampa Bay ML, Cincy Jacksonville over 40. We've got UMES, University of Maryland Eastern Shore, plus 15.5, and Arizona ML on the ice against my Capitals. We got Gaucho coming in, giving out 2 subbies to the community. Let's fucking go, Gaucho, giving out a subby to Ball for His Life and JPXJ. If you 2 gentlemen are still in here, shout out my guy Gaucho. He just gave you a subby. I'd love to see it. Okay. Chat, get your votes in. Hurry up, go, go, go. You got 1 minute. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And stick around for the surgical stream starting up here with Trent in about a minute and a half. Very, very curious to see his reaction to the Chiefs' L last night to the Packers, which was the nail in the coffin for his almost perfect surgical 6. I know that one stung. I'm very curious to hear his press conference here after getting to the last leg and so. Brutal.
A little presser. Presser's crazy.
Absolutely brutal. I need to hear the Trent presser in his comments. Yeah. Okay. He's getting close. 2 weeks in a row now. He's gone 5 for 6. I know he's hurting. I know he's going to bitch about it. And I know he's going to tweet out that little hook.
The hook, the green X, everything, man.
There was no better tweet. No better tweet from yesterday than Trent's tweet of this with just the hook. Okay. If you're on Gambling Twitter, I'm sure you guys appreciated that one. If your name is iTorres9010, you're in here talking about us having a great stream, boys. Good work. Torres, I'll see you tomorrow in here on BTL. Okay, we're back running all week. All right, we'll be here live tomorrow, same time, same place. And I'm heading down to Dallas for the Eagles and Cowboys game on Sunday, chat. But I'll be down there a little early. So rumor has it we might be doing some BTL in person Thursday through Monday. Okay, gents, stick around. Make sure you guys check out the Book It BTL Twitter. All right, we're going to do a little King of the Board again tweet this afternoon from the Book It BTL Twitter, Javon. So, guys, make sure you guys side with either me or Javon in the mentions, in the comments for that tweet that goes out on Book It BTL so we can get you involved in the Prize Picks giveaway. All right, chat, let's stay hot on the squad rides. We're going North Dakota State and the Bison ML, Javon. Wouldn't want to have it any other way. That's the one I wanted to win. That's W's. Chat. Let's stay fucking hot. All right. We swept squad rides last week. Javon held it down at the end of the week. Absolutely killed it. Let's make it 6 in a row. Why not us, Javon?
Why not?
Let's fucking go. Why not us, dude? Why not us? Chat, lock it in. Let's make it 6 squad rides in a row. Make sure you guys check out our Twitter for any other prize picks or plays and stuff like that. And stick around for the surgical stream starting up here right now. We need to get Trent's reactions for the surgical 6. All right, guys. We'll catch you tomorrow. Same time, same place. Javon, we'll be seeing, bro.